Everyone rejected Chidebe. He was old enough to marry, but girl after girl rejected him and mocked him on top of the rejection. How did a young man of 30 get to this point? Many years ago in Ukpo village, Otobo and his wife lived in deep poverty that they were addressed as the poverty capital of Ukpo. He had been struggling since his business failed in Aro Uku city. He and his wife managed to come back alive to their village, Ukpo. Yes, alive because they were unable to even eat basic food, sometimes for 5 straight days. They had an only child, Chidebe, who was just 9 years old at the time of this business crisis. They gave Chidebe anything they could scrounge up, and Otobo kept talking to him. He said, "Son, it is never over till it is over." Finally, push came to shove, and Otobo decided that it was time to go back to their village, Ukpo. They sold or abandoned the things they couldn't carry to the village. The first set of people that came to welcome them spread tales of mockery about them to others. One of their relatives, named Onoha, met his friend Udala and said, even a loaf of bread they didn't bring. They couldn't buy. He only brought back that his white rally bicycle. And they are looking so hungry. We are certainly better than them, and yet we live in the village. I have been telling people that township, city is not the best. They don't hear. Udala said, well, maybe they ran into a roadblock they couldn't jump over. If I were them, I would have stayed to fight. Things have come and gone, and Otobo could only work in his farm and earn extra money by being a farmhand in other people's farms. He was constantly mocked. His son Chidebe became a help in the farm also. They could barely just eat. But Otobo kept telling Chidebe that he should never give up, that in life you would eventually win if you close your ears and don't let mockers and their mockery keep you on the ground. Otobo told him stories of people whose lives changed for the better by one miracle or another, and he enjoined him to keep trusting God. As he shared the stories, Chidebe kept musing within himself. He kept wondering why the same story has so far eluded them. He has heard many call them the poverty capital of Ukpo village. As he became older and realized the weight of that statement, he became more and more desirous of a change of story. Yet it was like as he worked harder, the poverty kept biting harder. His mom was also participating and doing as much farming of vegetables as she could. In Otobo's farm, Chidebe discovered that there was a particular type of weed that grows there. He had never seen that weed in any other farm in Ukpo. Though a type of weed, according to Chidebe and Otobo, it looked really beautiful. Chidebe has been old enough to marry, but no girl wants to marry Chidebe. He is too poor. The girls would mock and say, he cannot pay dowry. He cannot even feed himself. But he is looking for a girl to take as wife. Then he would starve her to death. No way, they mocked and laughed. Marriage indeed to Chidebe. One Ekema told her friends, maybe he would sell his father's bicycle and get money to marry. Chidebe kept listening to the stories his father Otobo told him. They were like the only and most refreshing thing he hears these days, especially after getting one rejection after another from ladies he proposed marriage to. One day he saw a young lady, Bunie, in the village who he hardly knew. they introduced, and the lady was different from the others. She was warm and friendly. She was an orphan. She was a seamstress too, and very poor because not many people bring clothes to her, and not many trust that she could sew well. So on her own part too, she was struggling to even eat. Her parents are long dead, apparently because of poverty. Chidebe had one torn attire he wanted her to patch for him, and she did a neat work, and he noticed that she's exceptionally kind. Chidebe was impressed and wondered if she would agree to marry him. He asked, "Bunie, are you married or about to marry?" Bunie said, "None of the above," and laughed. Chidebe left. Then Chidebe's mind was racing. He laid down to sleep on the raffia cane bed, but he was sleepless. He started talking to himself. "Oh, maybe, just maybe, she will agree to marry me. Maybe she is the one for me. Maybe nobody wants to marry her like nobody wants to marry me. Maybe we are meant for each other. Just maybe." By morning, he decided to go and give it a shot. "Bunie, I want to see your parents to tell them I want to marry their daughter." Bunie smiled warmly like she just heard a sweet music and said, "Sorry, my parents are long dead. I have just an uncle who doesn't care though. Whether I am alive or dead doesn't mean anything to him." Chidebe said, "No problem. We shall go and see him and tell him that I want to marry you immediately." In a few days, Chidebe and his father went to meet Bunie's uncle. He was surprised anyone would want to marry his niece. But seeing it's the son of the poverty capital of Ukpo, he said, oh well, no problem. Marry her. Don't bring anything except maybe 2 tubers of yam just to mark that you paid something to marry her. Made it easy for Chidebe. And in a few weeks, they had a very small traditional wedding ceremony, which was attended by very few people in Ukpo. Village girls mocked and mocked. They sang, "Poverty upon poverty." They were poverty capital of Ukpo. Now that they have carried another poverty to add, they are now the poverty capital of the world, they mocked. This is abject poverty pro max. The girls mocked. People wouldn't help them come out of poverty, and yet they wouldn't let them have peace. One day, within about 2 years of their marriage, some white men came from South Korea. They spread their search parties in Ukpo and environs. They are looking for some plants. An African agricultural map had pinpointed that the plant is located in Ukpo and environs. They met Eze of Ukpo, who welcomed them warmly and allowed them to go round searching for the plants. He told the Eze that they would pay heavily for the plant because it is essential for some drugs for heart and brain, and even for some high-end cosmetics. It took about 5 weeks before they got to Otobos and Chidebe's farm. And there it was, the wheat, and it grows only in that farm. Fortunately, the adjoining farmlands which belonged to them but uncultivated had it too. The weeds were all over that place. The South Koreans have vested as much as they could and took to South Korea. Tested it, and this species was better than they expected. That's how the Otobos and Chidebe's story changed. The South Koreans made Chidebe their partner. They built a primary processing plant in Ukpo, where the plants go through initial processing before getting exported to South Korea. In less than 1 year, Chidebe had built 2 majestic mansions, one for his parents, the other for him and his wife, who is nursing a new baby. They have now become the wealth capital of Ukpo. Chidebe travels with his family at least once a year to South Korea on business class flight. Twice a year, he is called upon to address all the men of Ukpo while his wife talks to the women. The ladies that rejected and mocked Chidebe are living in bad regrets today. Wow, what a change of story. We are to help others, but even if you can't help them, don't mock them. Life is in phases and men are in sizes. To him that is alive, there is hope. A living dog is better than a dead lion. Don't mock those you are better than. If you are better than them, then help to make their lives better. Please share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. Please remember to give the video a thumbs up. Also subscribe and click the bell icon so you get to know when we upload another very interesting video. Till our next video, remain truly amazing. This is African Folktales ChinChin. Goodbye.